out too. There wouldn't be too many coaches in Victoria or Australia who coach football no matter what standard, whether you're third sports, Murray League, VFL or not, had 4 flags in a row. It's pretty good. You've done well. And Richard Cobram, Stuart Radcliffe, Andrew Latessa and Carl Hartney. They just come forward. These 5 players made up the 27. We had 22 in the grand final team, so 5 players had a miss out. And in recognition of them being in the side, it makes the whole 27 up to make a premiership. Only 22 can play. It's great to have these fellas around. They've played 4 or 5 or maybe 7 or 8 games between them with it all together during the year. Getting tongue-tied here, getting nervous. But it's really great to have them in the side. If we didn't have players like this, we wouldn't have a side. And then just in recognition of being in the grand final year, we'd just like to present each player with a medallion, the same medallion that the rest of the 22 players got at the end of the game. Just to remember this year by Shane and Carl and Cogs won't be playing third football anymore, so it'll be a little memento for them as well. Just to show you how keen Carl is on football, besides the arm he's carrying there playing super rules. There was one game there during the year we selected Carl in the forward pocket. I forget which game it was, but when we told Carl after, look Carl, you've got a game in the forward pocket, you'd think he'd won a premiership that night. He said, geez, thanks Joe. He said, it's the first time I've been picked in 4 years while I've been here at Cobram on the field. And for a fellow like that to stick around, keep on trying, and eventually get there, it probably fulfilled an ambition of his, but it was great effort, Carl, and that's what the spirit of football should be. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you keep on plugging. Well done, Carl. We had a couple of paper awards this year. Duck Neal's news agency kindly donated an award. Also, Cobram Disposals kindly donated an award, and those awards were voted on each week on a 3-2-1 basis. They were published in the Courier most weeks, and we total them up at the end of the year. And for the best team player, the final voting went, and I'll read out the top 3. And what we looked for in a team player was not necessarily the best player on the ground. It was a player that, in Moff's and mine opinion, contributed towards the side, whether it be shepherding, encouragement, talking, how he helped other players around him, how he encouraged the team. And on 12 votes, in third place was Brian Simpkin. Second, on 15 votes, was Mark Bond. And on first, and he's an apology denied, on 19 votes, George Nicolopoulos. George has won a sleeping bag to the value of $45 from Cobram Disposals. That's a pretty kind award, and if you're looking for any camping gear and that, I'll put in a plaque for Cobram Disposals. Go and see Matt Collier, he'll help you out pretty well. Best Player Award. And that was 3-2-1 basis as well, and that was for the best player on the ground. And on third, it was Rob Hockey with 11 votes. Second with 12 votes was Brian Simpkin. I gave poor old Duts a fright. I went in there and said, look, Rod, I said, we've got a tie for first place, and sometimes you play getting a smile out of Duts, let alone 2 biros. But with 14 votes apiece, we've got a joint winner, Mark Bond, Sandy Weeding. Well done to the 2 players, they greatly deserve their award. I won't say anything about them at the moment. During the year, the league ran an award. It was the most disciplined side in the league. It was donated by the police and To the players' credit, Cobram thirds ended up on top. The trophy's over there in the middle of the table. It's the first year that the league have ran this award. The Cobram thirds have won it. It was voted on by the umpires on an out of 10 basis. And to the players' credit, they brought it home. If they win it again, they keep it. The first team to win it twice. But on an individual basis, there was a most disciplined player award as well. And I as a coach had to give just a single vote after each game on what I thought was the most disciplined performance by a player in my team. And I kept the tally at the end of the year. We had a nomination that had to go over to Taken Hall to accept the most disciplined player award if he polled the most votes in Merrily. Hens didn't poll the most votes. He ran third in the league award, but he gets the club award, the most disciplined player. Andrew is what you call a quiet achiever. You never hear much out of him. Probably the most we heard out of him was on grand final night. It was probably the most sweaty walk of the night. There was one stage there he called for a towel and he said, make sure it's wet. But Hens, you're a pleasure to have you on the side. There's no grizzles, no moans from you. We know you're giving 100% all the time. We look forward, if you succeed with your chef's job around the area, to have you in the senior side next year. Well done, Hens. Best first year player. Well, it was a pretty hard job this year because we had a fair few come up out of the fourths and they were all talented. So the easiest way we found to decide this award was go on our club voting for the best and fairest player. And our best first year player on 30 votes ended up in 4th position, which was a great effort for Sandy Weedy. Sandy come up to the thirds. He looked a bit small probably. We started him on a wing. He started off like a house on fire for the first 5 or 6 games. Then we came against the game against Berrigan here, and on the outer wing there he got KO'd pretty bad. Carried off. Took him a while to get his confidence back. But then 5 or 6 games before the finals, Sandy started firing again. He was an inspiration to the team. He was a leader. He was a runner. He got our game going. Played well in the finals, and he had a great year. Well done, Sandy. Leading goal kicker for the year. I guess about this one, is it? This fella came up from the 4th to the 3rd. This is probably a backman. I'm not real sure. But anyway, Mike and me had a look at him and we thought, well, he might be a little bit slow for the back line. But he's a beautiful kick. He leads well. His ground skills are fairly good. We'll try him at full forward. And even though we got a little bit of ribbing during the year and Hudson's worried about his being ribbings about playing, we'll never tell you anyway, Hud. But with 63 goals at the end of the year, which is a great effort for your first year of thirds football, Hudson Batty. Hudson also had a great grand final too. 5 goals from a full forward in a pressure situation as a grand final in your first year. It was a tremendous effort. Well done, Hud. Best of the finals. This was also done on a 3-2-1 basis, and we had a tie in this one as well. And over the 3 finals, these players polled in 2 games. They didn't poll in the grand final, either of these 2, but they weren't far behind the first 3 vote getters in that game anyway. And both on 5 votes, George Nicolopoulos and Rob Hockey. Just while Rob's coming up, George has won the best team man trophy as well. George was a pleasure to have in the side. He came up from the 4th in his 3rd year. There was never a whinge out of George. The only word you get out of George was when we were having sprints at the end of the night and he'd say, how many we got to go? I don't know whether he was trying to save himself or what. But George was an inspiration to the whole team. We had tackling practice, kicking practice, no matter what sort of practice we had. George would give his 100% even when the sprints were on anyway. And players used to call him Mr. 100%, which he really was, and I think the name will stick by him. Rob was a back pocket player last year, started in the back pocket this year. Wasn't too happy, decided to give the game away. Might have been a bribe, I don't know. But anyway, we got him back. We played him as a ruck rover, as a centreman, probably where he should have been played anyway, but we thought we'd give him a bit of experience in the back line, take a note from Kevin Sheedy, play him anyway. Rob, come back, had a good season, finished off with a great final series. Well done, Rob. We've had a trophy donated this year that's a new trophy to the thirds. It's going to be a perpetual trophy each year. Kindly donated by Tony Caruso. Tony said to me during the year, he said, come and see me at the end of the year about awards. And I said, all right. Went and saw Tony. He said, look, I'd like to donate this trophy. He said, I'd like to keep it in the club. It'll be a perpetual trophy. The player that wins it will hand it back at the end of each year. It'll be great in 10 or 15 years' time to see the players' names on this. It's for the most improved player, which probably discounts the first year players coming up out of the force because we're not really sure how they went last year. So it counts the second and third year players. And it was a pretty tough decision when Mop and me went through the side, and there's a fair few players that had improved, but we finally come down to Greg Moody. Greg's not here tonight, he's in Queensland at the moment. But Greg, he was started as a fullback, played well as a fullback last year. Then this year when our 6'3" gambling ruckman Wally retired in about the third game, we were short of a ruckman. So we had to try Bondi, we tried Dan, we tried everyone, but Moods fit the bill. He enjoyed playing on the ball. Let him unleash his endeavour. Go for the ball full steam ahead. You know, if anyone got in his way, they were gone. His kicking has improved, although he doesn't like shots for goal, and neither do we. Watching him shoot for goal, but he's had a great year. Well done, Moods. Thanks very much, Tony, for that award. Thanks very much. Runner-up, well, Mark Bond. They can give him a clap now. Runner-up in the best and fairest, or may as well put that. Mark's our captain this year, and he's done the job admirably. He was our top pole getter in the Murray League medal count, which is another great effort. Mark's led by his on-field play. He's a pleasure to get on with. All the boys get in right behind him. He's a great leader. He greatly deserves the runner-up's trophy. I think our skipper last year went on and played senior football. There should be no reason why this skipper this year shouldn't go on and play senior football next year. Well done, Bobby. Right, finally, another fella that's probably he has got another year in thirds football, but like Butter and Barnsley this year, I feel he should get his chance to play seniors straight away. I don't reckon if a player's got the ability, he should waste his time in the last year of thirds football. He can go on and prove himself in senior football. Simo's had a great year. He's learned to kick left foot, which is one great thing. Wells got even in for him at the moment. Wouldn't you, Elsie? He's gone on from last year. He was a great first year player. This year he's grown. His ball endeavours got better. His team play's got better. His discipline is improving. It will get better. Simo, you greatly deserve an award and well done. Bronze.
Well, I'd like to thank Joe and Mock for doing a great job all year, and the mothers for helping out here tonight. Oh, that's turning off.
before I get on to my thank yous, when I came here tonight there was just an interruption. Before I came here tonight, I counted up there was 10 leaving the grand final side and 13 leaving the squad of 27. Now I've come here tonight and been broken the news that the Gamble boys have been accepted to Assumption College, so we've now got 12 players leaving grand final side and 15 leaving the squad of 27. So it leaves a pretty big hole in the side. I'd like all those sports players that finished in their fourths now, seriously consider coming up into the thirds. Don't worry about going to Baruga or Yarrawira or looking for the easy way out. Just come up, keep following the line. There's a challenge there next year for the players that are left. It doesn't matter whether you win a grand final or not. That's not what thirds football's all about. If we do win a grand final, it's cream on the cake. It's a part of learning football and preparing ourselves to go on to senior football. So I want all those sports players to really think about coming up and keep on going with the Cobram Football Club. But one of those players that is leaving, and he has got another year to go, but he's decided to go to school elsewhere. He's going to Finland for a year. Is Scott Thomas. Scott, I think a lot of players will breathe a sigh of relief now. With one more year to go, Scott's not going to be on the track on a Monday and Wednesday. And when there's competitive practice and players are paired up, no one has to go and hide in the dark. Because Scott took his training pretty seriously. Anyone who watched the grand final would have seen the two Finley players he cleaned up. On a Monday and Wednesday there was more Cobram players than that, I'll tell you that. But Scott, if you'd like to come forward, on behalf of the club we'd like to present you with your Guernsey that you wore this year. We'd like you to take it to Finland. I don't think they play footy over there, but it might keep you warm. I'd just like to go on there with a couple of thank yous. Just a couple of thank yous to the trophy donors. We didn't individually name as the trophies we presented, but Councillor Max Mills, Best and Fairest Trophy was donated by Jim and Vera Stewart. Philip and Julie Morehouse, and trophies throughout the year also were donated by Brian Doyle, Neville Mustigan, Jerry Thomas, Dee Shelley, Arthur Hollins, Ron Moffat. I'd like to thank Memphis for their weekly award that we presented each week, a $5 voucher. And also to the Social Club who made a contribution towards our trophies at the end of the year. Also I'd like to thank Kevin Bond, our bus driver. Well done, Kevin. I'd like to put your hands together for Kevin. Not only an excellent supporter, but he's had to put up with a hell of a lot of, I'd say, noise from the fellas on the bus. Also, he's had to put up with one fella. I don't know what we're going to do with him. First time he was supposed to go away to take, I think he was waiting at the post office. The bus was supposed to leave from here. Then, during the year, we'd have to say, look, Dan, the bus leaves at 9:30. It was really leaving at 10. Just to get him here on time, he usually arrived at 10 past 10. Then, comes the end of the year, preliminary final day, 10 to 11, no Dan Thomas. Where is he? He's sitting at home waiting for Mustikas to pick him up. Mustikas are over at the ground, the bus has left, Dan's at home. Welcome to the club, Dan. You've been a pleasure to have around the side. So we'll have to get that clock going next year. So thanks a lot too, Kevin. It's a great job, that. Also, I'd like to thank Mark Goodwin, our trainer. He comes down every Monday and Wednesday night, as well as Saturdays, puts in a lot of time. It's his own valuable time. I know the boys have appreciated him around. They get a great throw. They're trying to beat him over 220 yards and haven't caught him yet. Ronnie Kendi for his finals. Thanks, Ronnie. Ronnie has enough to do during the year with the seconds and seniors, but then he comes to the finals and he says, look, I'll give you a hand if we want one. We desperately want one. Thanks, Ronnie, for that too. I'd like to thank also Judy Down and Teddy Kennedy for the great banner they built for the boys at the end of the year. Last year the boys spent all the week building it. Got about probably winning the grand final. This year we thought we'd use reverse psychology and leave them out of it. Might have worked alright, I'd say. Also, I'd like to thank Mop. Mop's assisted me for 2 years. I've had 2 really successful years. Mop's put in a lot of time and effort. It's been really great. I know the boys have appreciated it. He's been able to take training, bring down things that senior players and the senior side are doing, as in skills and drills. He's been able to put across the message pretty well. He's put a lot of time and effort into it. I think it might have improved his own game, but Mop's now said that he might have had enough, so there might be greener pastures ahead for Mop. So we'll probably be looking for an assistant coach for the thirds, but one of the non-taxable perks that looks like goes with the thirds assistant coach is you're guaranteed of winning the first, best and fairest. So Wellesley, you might be an applicant next week, eh? Thanks a lot anyway, Mop. Been great having you around. Also, I'd like to thank my wife Debbie. She's put up with me during the year. I know I probably sound a bit of a sad sack now, but we get home on Monday and Wednesday night at 7:30 or so, and where you be? But anyway, can't help the water fights and that we have to clean up. Also, I'd like to thank the ladies who've helped you tonight. Also for the club, for their support during the year, especially grand final night when they recognised the thirds and the fourths. I think it was very well done. Thanks a lot to the club. And lastly, I'd like to thank the players themselves for a very enjoyable year. I've really enjoyed it, and I know Mop has, and one thing that you can gauge your enjoyment on is Mop came up to me after the game, grand final, and he said, look, that win gave me more thrill than winning last year's senior grand final. Well, to win the senior grand final is a lot of thrill, but in Mop's cause and my own cause, to see the players enjoy themselves in winning what they truly deserve is really great. Thanks players, it's been a great year.
Just on behalf of the third place, I've just got a few presentations to make to Joe first of all, before he sits down. Joe's he's had me for the last 2 years. I'd just like to make personal thanks and thanks on behalf of the team. Thanks like that.
For Mop for 2, we'd like you to come up, Mop. Mop come to training every night, he without fail, he's helping the players. We'd just like to say on behalf of all the players, well, thanks a lot. It's great.
I'd just like to thank the players for that. I've already thanked you for the year. I can't really say much more. Thanks a lot, fellas.
I'd like to thank the third 18. I've probably had to practice what I preach a bit more than ever before, because if you make a mistake on the ground on Saturday, the third sure as hell let you know Monday night when you go there. So I think it's helped improve my football, and I hope I've helped them in some way as well. Thank you.
Just imagine what her job was like.
Most of all, I'd just like to thank the players for a great year. Thanks a lot.
I'd just like to highlight what the people Joe thanked and also the players.
Alright, thanks Mark and Chris, the 2 other players that should be playing senior football next year. Now I'd like to introduce, on behalf of Peter Reynolds, our Vice President, Phil O'Dwyer.
Thanks very much, Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, in the absence of our popular President Peter, I'd like to probably support Joe and Jim in their thanks to all their helpers. that they named off tonight. They've had tremendous support from within the club. I would like to now, on behalf of the club, thank you people that have been mentioned, but then I would like to go on and just congratulate initially Joe and Moth, the way they have led our thirds this year. They were very disappointed last year, being the only side that dipped out. And then, you know, they put the work in early this year, had a bit of a setback in the second semi-final, Joe and the boys. Have come back in true spirit, and believe you, that grand final, that was a great last quarter. I don't very often see the thirds, working on Saturday mornings, but I was absolutely impressed with the way you finished Finley off that day, and I thought it was a great effort, fellows from the club. I reckon it was a great effort. The other thing that I'd like to thank, there was a few of the boys from the thirds during the year. We dropped away a little bit in the reserves. They made numbers up different times. I know Simo played, Bondi played a few times. Who else? Yeah, Fergie, that's right. And Rocky Racco, I think he made the numbers up a few times. But those things keep a club going when, you know, in the middle of the season when we had a lot of injuries. The boys kept the show going there, making up the numbers. And to Jim, I would like to congratulate him on behalf of the club, taking his side to the fourth premiership in as many years. I think, I asked Jim tonight, but I think we probably will see the first of Jim's boys coming into senior football next year that played in his first premiership side. And I think this is our grounding for our club here, our juniors. It keeps us up at a certain standard. And hopefully, with the right coaching in the senior levels now, we'll go on and be a strength in the Murray League for a number of years. Cobram Football Club, I suppose in the senior situation, was very disappointed at not going on with when we finished on top of the ladder. And we had made preparations for grand final night and then dipped out, and it was a bit disappointing. But I think the night that we had, because of the great effort by you boys, that grand final night where it was an absolute grassroots club level night, I thought that was one of the best nights I've ever enjoyed in the Cobram Football Club. And I hope, hopefully we can have 4 teams celebrating at this time next year. Well done boys and well done coaches.
Proceedings for tonight. We'd like to thank you all again for coming and making the night so enjoyable. There'll be coffee or tea now available for anyone who likes